Madison Valley, and welcome to our session on planning ahead. We have some really valuable information for you tonight, and hopefully you can take this to heart and help us to support your students, because I can promise you your students will be hearing this same presentation and probably in more detail in their classrooms in the next couple of weeks. Ms. Franks is the counselor for the class of 2019, and she will be visiting classrooms and talking to the students exactly about what we're going to be talking to you about tonight. My name is Joan Woodchick. I'm the senior counselor, and this is Ms. Christine Rosshead. She's the junior counselor. And I'll just tell you right now, I remember 3 years ago, we move up with our students. I had my seniors, I got them as freshmen. And I remember being in the same exact, right here, and we put English classes together, and it was like the second week of school, and we're giving them all the same information we're giving to you. What I like about what we're doing right now is you're getting to support it at home as well as with us, what we're trying to do in the classroom. So anyway, welcome to Planning Ahead, and Ms. Rosshead's going to talk to you a little bit about your graduation plans.
So your student entering from the middle school is on a foundation plan of an endorsement. All students are on the foundation plan. They're all the same, except the endorsement piece is what makes every student's plan different. On the foundation plan, they have to have the required courses to make sure they have the credits in. If you look up here, you'll notice that every year your student will take an English class. Every year they'll have a math course, a science course, a social studies course. They need 2 years of a foreign language, a year of fine arts, a year of physical education, that could be band, ROTC, athletics, cheer, dance, and 6 electives. The 6 electives is what drives that endorsement piece. That's what makes it different for every student. If you think about it this way, the state of Texas has given students the opportunity to take 6 classes of anything they would like. That's more than even what they're requiring for the math and for the science. The reason why this whole endorsement piece came about is that the state of Texas realized that when kids were graduating from high school and entering the workforce or going into college, they had no idea what they wanted to study. They had no idea what they wanted to pursue a career in. So they really wanted to give students an opportunity to explore different options, really pinpoint in an area, a sequence of classes, and be able to earn an endorsement. So that's what drives the endorsement, is truly being able to help students find an area of study or a job skill that they would like to pursue after they're done with high school. So the 26 credits is one component of how students graduate from high school. They also must meet the end of course exams.
The end of course exams, there's 5 of them. Some of your students have already mastered one of them. If they took algebra in 8th grade and they took the end of course exam and were successful, they've got one under their belt. Next year, all students, all freshmen, will take English 1. They will take Algebra 1, EOC, if they have not had it in the 8th grade, and they will take biology. That's 3 out of the 5 exams that they're going to be taking as freshmen, and that's a really good thing, because that means they're going to get them out of the way. That means they can move on and only have 1 exam to worry about their sophomore year, which is English 2, and 1 exam to worry about their junior year, which is U.S. history. So the exams are English 1 and 2. Algebra, biology, and U.S. history. And if your student happens not to be successful in an exam, we provide remediation. They have multiple opportunities to take the exams again, but our students are generally pretty successful, and really encourage your students to take these exams seriously and to use the classes that are attached to these exams, or I should say exams attached to the classes. Make sure that they utilize their time in those classes and really, really focus on the material, so that when it comes time for EOCs in May, that they're prepared. Okay, we're going to talk about planning ahead. What counts in college admissions? I am the senior counselor, and I can tell you right now, my students are starting to get on Apply Texas and starting their college application process. And one thing I think that it drives so much of that process is how strong was their schedule. What is their coursework like? Did they do all regular coursework, or did they do pre-AP, dual credit, and advanced placement? Because that right there, the more rigor that you have in the course that you take, it drives GPA and it drives class rank. So colleges and universities, especially the private schools where they're not bound by all of the requirements that the state says with top 10% this and top percent this, they pretty much look at the whole student. That is really, really huge. So encourage your students to really challenge themselves and take those courses that are rigorous so that they can, their rank and their GPA will be affected in a positive way.
As the junior and senior counselor, we constantly go to college updates where they are constantly giving us information about how do kids get into their university. It's our job to get that information to the students. So this information up here is from them. So definitely, like Ms. Woodchick said, number 1 is strength of schedule. Number 2 is SAT and ACT scores. There's a big change that's going to happen. It's going to affect my juniors. March of 2016, the SAT is changing. This is the first change of the SAT in 45 years. It's a big, big, big difference. We recommend for all juniors to take the SAT and or ACT one time in the spring of their junior year and then take it again the fall of their senior year. So this year when my juniors take it, March 2016 is when the new SAT comes on board. One of the biggest factors that are changing is they're eliminating the you guess wrong, you get penalized. In the past, if you guessed wrong and you got it wrong, you got a 1/4 of a point deducted from your score. They're eliminating that. They want kids to guess. They want kids to have the opportunity to be able to eliminate answers and try to find the right answer. So that's a huge difference for the SAT. SAT also is going to become longer. It's going to run 2 hours and 45 minutes for 3 sections. So it's going to be a longer test, which means that they're also testing endurance. So it's still timed with the test being longer, and now that elimination that you don't have to worry about guessing wrong, it's going to make that an endurance contest for them when they come and take these tests. How does that affect you guys with the PSAT? Well, since the SAT is changing, the PSAT is changing as well. So not only do my juniors get the new SAT, March of 2016, my juniors get the new PSAT. October 14th, there's going to be a new PSAT that hopefully qualifies students for the National Merit Scholarship Competition. That too is eliminating that wrong choice penalty. So now students can guess on the PSAT too, and if they get it wrong, they're not being penalized for it. But how does that affect you as 9th graders? In the past, when 9th graders and 10th graders took the PSAT for practice, they were taking the 11th grade test. So they were taking a test, they were getting a score, a predictive SAT score in the 9th grade based on material that they had to see in 11th grade. When parents and students got that score, me personally, I thought it was very deflating. They see the score, they're testing on material that they haven't even been exposed to. All that's changing. So this year, your student in the 9th grade will be taking the PSAT 8-9. College Board has changed that, make it more practical for you and for your student. It is geared for 9th grade curriculum. It is geared for 9th grade skill set. So when you get that information back on the results, take time, look at the score. It's really going to give you a good indication, an honest indication of where your child's at right now and what you need to do to get them where they need to be, especially with that SAT.
Can I ask one question? So you said it's first change in 45 years. Have they been running this format, or is it only the point thing that's been eliminated, or how do they know they're not going to switch it back because, oh, they screwed up and we don't like it?
Well, that's why I'm really telling my students don't take it until May, because I want you to be that 3rd group of students to take it versus that 1st group that's going to have to take that trial effort. We don't. They're putting out a lot of free SAT prep materials. They're really partnering with Khan Academy to do a lot of online, but we don't know. We're really thinking that hopefully after the 1st or 2 run, it's going to be the best to take it that time in May, just because I think there are going to be tweaks on that exam. It's a big shift for them. They really want to align their tests like the ACT. I've got some time. The SAT test in the past has really been a pseudo-achievement test. It's like a pseudo-intelligence test. They're testing a set of skills to get a predictive score of how well your student's going to do in college. The ACT is completely different. The ACT is an academic test. It tests material that kids have been exposed to in high school. It's high school curriculum that they've seen. SAT is trying to get towards that. They really are trying to get away from this abstract testing that's always been associated with the SAT. So that's what they're really trying to do, is mirror their test more like the ACT. The third thing on here is GPA and class rate. When we go to these college updates, especially when we you go to the state updates from the state public schools, that's what they do. That's what they constantly tell us. The biggest criteria that they look at, automatic admission, is what is the student's rank, what quarter of the class they're in. Then it's a sliding scale of do they get the SAT score that they needed to get based on the quarter of the class they're in. That's how they admit students. They need an easy process like that. A&M and UT have thousands of kids that are applying. So they've got to find an easy measure. So what they use is the sliding scale. Based on your class rank, this is the SAT score you have to have.
Okay, the fourth item that we're going to talk about tonight in planning ahead is extracurricular community service. I cannot stress to you enough how important it is for you to ask your students to become involved in their school and be community service. Because both of those, not just one or the other, both of those are important in the college admissions process and in the scholarship application process when you're trying to go to college. So if you could make sure that your students really get involved in their school and that you document everything that you do. Again, being senior counselor, I'm watching my kids start to do this Apply Texas application, and some of them are like scratching their heads going, oh my gosh, what did I do my freshman year? You know what, you shouldn't have to do that, because what you guys need to make sure you do is you find a safe spot. You start building their portfolio. You know that, hey, I did this community service, I have documentation, I've got it right here, I was in this organization my freshman year. So come senior year, you pull out that file, and it's just a matter of putting data into the application. But that's not always the case with my students. Some of my students have done that, and some of my students are scratching their head going, I don't remember what I did community service-wise freshman year, or did I? Well, you need to make sure that you do, because the application will ask you, how many hours did you put in your freshman year, sophomore year, junior, specifically, not just how many hours. What did you do, how many times a week? Those kinds of things are being asked in that college application. So please encourage your students to do the community service. Colleges and universities are looking for more than just that good student. They want the well-rounded student as well. And they do want to see that extracurricular involvement and that community service piece as well. We do allow students, we do have a service corps program at Smithson Valley High School, and basically that is 160 hours of community service, 40 hours per year is suggested at Smithson Valley. And at the end, if you have your 160 hours of service, then you get a cord that you can wear at graduation that signifies that you have completed 160 hours of community service. Lori Niles is she's our fact sponsor, and she documents all that for students. The best thing that you can do is to have your student, and again, they will be hearing this presentation in the classrooms within the next few weeks from Ms. Franks. But she will suggest to them that they get a service corps application, because there is an application to serve, okay? And you fill out the application saying that you want to be a part of the program, and there's forms that you get that all you do once you do is an activity, you get that person that sponsored that activity to sign off on it, and you return it to Ms. Niles, and she keeps her files for these students for the 4 years that they're at Smithson Valley High School. So Lori Niles is the contact person for that, and again, document, have everything ready to go so that when you're 3 years from now, when you're right here and your kids are applying for school, you've got everything right at hand.
I would have to say that when we go to the private school updates, that probably community service, they rank it about 2. You know, the state public schools are not mandated. They're mandated by following the formula, but private schools aren't. So they really are looking at the whole individual. They really want to see, that whole package. For them, it's kind of like their big word is persistence. They like it that kids go to Habitat for Humanity and make that house one time. They like that students are able to go to volunteer at a food kitchen one time at Christmas. That's not what they're looking for. They want to see the persistence, the commitment, one activity that's done over a span of time. That's what they really are looking for. Just a quick example of how important community service is, not even just for private school admission, but when I was a senior counselor, I had a student who 12th percent of her class, not the 10th percent, which meant that she could not get automatic admission to A&M. Because she was on the 10th percentile, she had to get a 1300 on her SAT. She couldn't get it. She got like a 1250. She was so close. Broke my heart. But they let her go to academic review. They let her go to admission review. Because at admission review, it's no longer just about what your grade is, what your score was. It's about who the whole person was. That's where she was able to truly demonstrate her dedication to the community and all of the extracurricular activities she did at school. That was a factor that helped her get over the edge. A&M really thought that if she did all this for her community, she's going to do it here with us. She really is doing all this stuff at Smithson Valley High School. There's a good chance she's going to do that here with us as well. So by her demonstrating that, it really helped her give those extra credits that she needed to meet that panel's recommendation to be able to get accepted. So really, I can't stress enough how important it is, just because you don't know what situation your child's going to be in. And I would hate for you to have to be in that spot where they weren't doing all this because you were banking on the rank or GPA or the SAT score. That's tough to do. NHS, really quick. Ms. Shoebridge could not be here, and she's the National Honor Society sponsor. She really wanted us to tell you guys that if your student was in the Junior National Honor Society at their middle school, they are not automatically placed in our National Honor Society. Students are not even identified to be students to get an application until their junior year. What happens? After the first 6 weeks, Ms. Shoebridge will come to me and say, Ms. Rosted, who are all your top 10% kids? I'll give her a list. Who are all your kids that have a GPA of a 92, 3.7? I'll give her a list. Those kids get an application. Just because they meet the grade criteria does not mean they're in National Honor Society. They have to fill out the application. One of the criteria on that application is, have they served 15 hours of community service? You'd be amazed at how many students are doing that. If they don't have it, their application doesn't even go to the panel of teachers to see if they're going to be accepted into National Honor Society. So just to let y'all know that that is our process here at Smithson Valley regarding National Honor Society. I know we went over 12 minutes. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are a great audience.